All right, guys. So this is getting ridiculous. So I just saw this. The Trump Doctrine earns President Trump third Nobel Peace Prize nomination. Eminent law professor David Flint is among four Australian law professors who are now nominating U.S. President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize on the basis of the Trump Doctrine. And then this article goes a little deeper into what they mean by that. Only members of a national parliament or law professors are able to nominate others for the Nobel Peace Prize with President Trump. Apparently, they don't have any standards for when it comes to you have to tell the truth in your nomination, but we'll keep going. President Trump recently brokered a historic peace deal with the United Arab Emirates and Israel, which aimed to normalize diplomatic relations. This unprecedented deal was closely followed by a similar peace agreement with Bahrain and Israel. So, I mean, everyone is touting this as like, oh my gosh, an Arab country has never normalized relations with Israel before. But since 1994, this also happened in 1994. So this isn't some brand new thing. This isn't the first time that Israel has ever been recognized. So even that part isn't true. But even besides that, let's say it was the first time UAE, decided, it's not like these two countries were at conflict with each other. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of significant, but you wouldn't call that a peace deal, really, when it's not countries that are at conflict. The same thing with Bahrain. There was nothing going on. And there are actual things that can be done with Israel that would involve a peace agreement. Obviously, getting some sort of binational agreement with the Palestinians where, everyone, Palestine and Israeli, has equal rights and we end the apartheid system that currently exists there. That would be awesome. That would be really good. That is not what has happened. That is not what we've done. It's not even, they're not even pretending to be pushing for a two-state solution anymore. It's just, it's absurd. And I mean, there are other, this is talking about, in relation to Israel, but this guy goes a little bit deeper, talking about the Middle East in general and this whole Trump doctrine. He went ahead and negotiated against all advice, but he did it with common sense. He negotiated directly with Arab states concerned in Israel and brought them together, Professor Flint said. Professor Flint told Sky News host Alan Jones that the Trump doctrine is something extraordinary and is emblematic of the two things which guide the president. This is absurd. He has first common sense, and he is only guided by national interest, and therefore an interest in the Western alliance. This it's just silly. Now this part is just silly, but then he gets into it. It literally is just saying things that aren't true if we keep going. What he has done with the Trump doctrine is that he has decided he would no longer have America in endless wars, which achieve nothing but killing thousands of young Americans. So he's reducing American tendency to get involved in any and every war. So there's a little trick there, but it's just ending endless war. Donald Trump has not ended a single conflict that we're involved in. Not a single one. We are still involved in all the same conflicts that we were. And there's some people that are like, oh, well, he hasn't started any new conflicts. That's not that impressive. There's hundreds of thousands of people that haven't started any wars. Do they all get nominated? That's silly to say, oh, just because you haven't started any new conflicts. That's absurd. Especially when he has continued everything that we're involved in. He literally vetoed a bipartisan agreement to end our support for the Saudi-led genocide in Yemen. He vetoed that. He decided, Congress decided, hey, let's not support this, genocide anymore. Donald Trump vetoed that bill to continue our support. He is actively continuing our enabling of what Saudi Arabia is doing, and our involvement, sometimes direct involvement in that conflict. It's to say that oh, he just hasn't started any new conflicts when he is actively continuing what we're doing. He literally just, this is a week ago, is sending more troops to Syria. He's not ending any wars. He has done some drawbacks in Iraq and Afghanistan, but this is similar to what Obama did. Obama also drew back a bunch of troops from Iraq, and then he brought them and sent some more, and then he bring them back. They yo-yo the troops. This is nothing new, and Trump is not doing anything genuine with, or anything novel with what he's doing with bringing some troops in, some troops back. I remember a while back when he removed those troops from Syria. He didn't even bring them back to the U.S. He just moved them to Iraq. But people are acting like he is this is, he's ending wars, and he's just not. He just isn't. And then also, he hasn't started any conflict, but there has been some pretty direct instigation with Iran. I mean, we're seeing some pretty big stuff. The assassination of Soleimani, I mean, that was honestly a lot of restraint on Iran's part for not doing something about that. Now, I'm glad that they didn't. I'm really glad that they didn't. I'm so glad that the assassination of Soleimani didn't turn into something bigger. But it could have. That was a reckless move that could have led to the deaths of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people could have died because of that. And I'm incredibly thankful that it hasn't, and that we haven't seen like further escalation with Iran. We are seeing more an increase of sanctions. We're seeing that the U.S. is just going ahead and putting more and more sanctions on. That is not good. I am very worried about what we would see, and if Donald Trump were to get a second term, I would be very, very concerned about what our relationship with Iran would look like. But regardless, this is crazy. A third Nobel Peace Prize nomination. Now, I know that Joe Biden also recently got nominated. That's silly too. He hasn't done anything. No, neither of these people have done anything that deserve a peace prize. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be like partisan about this. Joe Biden also doesn't deserve one. No, it's more absurd that Donald Trump would get nominated, but it's also absurd that Joe Biden would get one. But I also saw, Vladimir Putin just got nominated, so really, I'm not gonna lie, they need better standards for their nomination. I get not everyone's gonna win, but they need better standards. But even in terms of who won, Henry Kissinger won before. That says it all right there. He literally won a Nobel Peace Prize. This guy who orchestrated multiple coups. We won't get started on that, but regardless, Trump nominated for his third Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not sure how much people are going to talk about this. Pretty silly though. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you disagree with anything I said, maybe you think Trump biggest step towards peace we've ever seen, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear that, even though you're wrong. And then other than that, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.